Have you ever thought? When a baby is born, who is actually born? Is it the baby, or the mother? Because motherhood doesn't begin with birth, it begins with transformation. The mother is born alongside the baby. And that birth isn't just of the body, it is the most profound shift of the mind, heart, and soul. From 0 to 3 years old, this is the phase that science, psychology, and neurology all mark in red. These are the years that silently shape how a child views the world, how they will one day treat themselves, and how they will treat others. And there's one hidden key that unlocks this entire period: love. A brain that isn't embraced cannot reach its full potential. Why? Because physical touch, especially in those first 3 critical years, nurtures and strengthens the brain's synaptic pathways. Every hug activates the hormone oxytocin, which lowers stress and helps the child feel safe. A heart that isn't touched cannot truly learn how to beat in rhythm with another. Emotional safety doesn't just appear, it's built. When a child doesn't receive love, their emotional compass can become unsteady. A lack of love and touch doesn't just delay emotional growth, it can disrupt biological development too. Hugs, eye contact, lullabies, that initial connection actually molds the architecture of the brain. Love is not just a feeling, it is a biological need. During those early years, a child's brain releases cortisol, the stress hormone, every time they're faced with distress. But when there's a safe, consistent caregiver around, that hormone is balanced. If not, the brain becomes wired for survival. Not play, but withdrawal. Not curiosity, but hypervigilance. The nervous system learns to brace instead of relax. To anticipate harm rather than explore possibility. These are the roots of trauma. The birthplace of insecure attachment. The seed of future learning difficulties, anxiety, or emotional withdrawal. It's like laying down fragile wiring that may one day spark into lifelong struggles. Without the softening presence of love, the child doesn't feel safe enough to explore, to trust, or to connect. And when that safety is absent, the brain builds walls instead of bridges. That's why every single hug becomes more than just affection, it becomes a building block in the foundation of the child's brain. Theories of attachment, the studies of neuroscience, the insights of behavioral psychology, all agree, the first 3 years can shape a lifetime. This is when the brain grows at lightning speed, when neuroplasticity is at its peak. It's the moment millions of neural connections are formed. It's when a child first starts processing sights, sounds, touches, feelings. It's when they begin to define what is safe, who is trustworthy, what love even means. When secure attachment forms, the child becomes someone who feels safe, explores freely, and learns with joy. But if there's neglect, rejection, or emotional distance in those formative years, it rewires how their brain responds to stress, possibly for life. These early wounds might stay silent for a while. But eventually, they speak. Through anxiety. Through detachment. Through that quiet voice saying, "I'm not enough." So then, what is love? Is it just saying, "I love you"? Not quite. Love is listening, truly listening. Love is presence. It's catching your child when they stumble, literally and emotionally. It's staying up on sleepless nights, sitting quietly by their side. It's meeting their tears with calm eyes, not frustration. Love is seeking to understand without judgment. Love is hearing their fears without minimizing them. It's being the steady ground under their uncertain feet. Love is showing up not just in joyful moments, but especially in the hardest ones. In a child's world, love isn't optional. It's the very proof that they are allowed to exist. That they matter. Freud once said that human behavior is fueled by the subconscious. The unmet needs of a child in early years don't simply fade, they embed deep in the unconscious. And those silent wounds? They find a way to surface later. In fear of abandonment. In inability to trust. In constantly feeling not enough. These aren't just passing emotions, they become patterns that shape relationships, decisions, and even self-worth. Those who grew up without love often search for it endlessly as adults. They overgive. They chase approval. Or they push people away, afraid of connection. These behaviors are echoes of early neglect. Childhood needs that weren't met don't disappear. They just speak louder later. This is why being a mother isn't about changing diapers or making bottles. It's about nurturing a soul. It's about building something sacred from the ground up. And like any great creation, it starts with the foundation. Studies show that children who experience emotional neglect often face greater academic struggles. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making, impulse control, attention, planning, and social understanding, may not develop as fully. These kids might struggle with focus, with friendships, with confidence. And in adulthood? They face higher risks of anxiety, depression, and unstable relationships because love acts like a child's immune system. Emotional warmth releases oxytocin. And oxytocin does more than create a feeling of peace, it lays the neurological groundwork for empathy, trust, boundaries, and emotional intelligence. It literally draws the emotional map of the brain. A map that guides how we bond, how we care, and how we love as adults. Sadly, many parents believe meeting physical needs is enough. They change diapers, feed meals, provide clothes. But what the child craves is not a dry diaper, it's a warm, safe heart. A full stomach isn't enough if the soul is starved, and emotional nourishment happens daily. It's in the way you wake your child in the morning. It's in bedtime routines. It's in shared books, playful games, and eye contact. But above all, it's in the moments when you're exhausted and still choose love. Children won't remember every word you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. One day, they may forget the toys or clothes you bought, but they'll remember the hugs, the look in your eyes, the way your presence made them feel safe. Motherhood isn't a profession. It's an art. An art that takes years, crafted with patience, love, and intention. And like any artist, you may make mistakes. That's okay. What matters is this: never stop choosing love. Never stop showing up. After watching this video, you have the power to reshape your child's future. How? Start by hugging them, frequently. Look them in the eye when you speak. Listen without distraction. Dedicate time that's just for them, no screens, no interruptions. Play with them. Read with them. Let them speak, and really hear them. Sit beside them in silence when they need it. Be their anchor. Be their mirror. Be their safe place, because a child doesn't need a perfect parent, they need a present one. One who sees them, hears them, holds space for them, and most of all, believes in them. And always remember, a broken toy can be repaired. But broken trust? That can take years. And sometimes, never heals. What every child truly needs isn't the fanciest school or latest toy. It's not organic baby food. It's this: to be seen, to be heard, to be loved, unconditionally, patiently, gently, because if a child feels deeply loved, then they can face the world with courage, with curiosity, with questions, with trust. And yes, most beautifully, with love. This video is not just a message. It's a call, a mirror, an awakening. Maybe you're watching and think it's too late. But the truth? It's never too late. Love can be rebuilt, at any age. Please, share this with a mother, a father, a teacher, or anyone near a newborn. Sometimes a single hug can change an entire life. Now, tell me, when was the moment you felt safest as a child? Think back. And write it in the comments. Because healing begins with sharing. Remember, knowledge is power. Subscribe, follow, and hold on to it. What do we know?